Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for stopping by. We are sitting down to go over my reading wrap up for April. I've got 4 physical books here, and then we are actually going to flip through some of my audiobooks as well, because that has been my month of April. So if you're interested in seeing that, please stay tuned. All right, you guys, so the first book I want to talk about here is The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. Now, I wasn't really sure about this. I've heard about this book all over TikTok, all over my YouTube, and I wasn't really sure if I was going to like it. However, I ended up giving this book, I think a 3.5 or 4 stars. So basically, this book follows the main character, or one of the main characters, Jess, who is kind of brokenhearted. She needs a change of scenery, and she has I think it's a stepbrother, or half-brother named Ben, who lives in Paris. And so she kind of reaches out to him saying, can I come stay with you for a little bit? And he's kind of not really excited about it, but anyway, she makes her way there, and then upon arriving, she realizes that Ben is missing. So the story kind of goes through her trying to find out what happened to Ben, and in the meantime, she kind of feels like this apartment is kind of I don't know how to explain it, kind of like engulfs everybody, kind of like chews them up kind of thing. So there's a lot of weird things that happen. She meets a lot of the people that live in the apartment, and each person has kind of their own story, but the twist and the turn of this I didn't see coming. I really, really, really enjoyed this book. So again, first one, I'm probably gonna say I'd give this a 4-star, maybe 3.75, but I really, really enjoyed this book. The next one that I went through was an audiobook, and it's Defy Me by Tahereh Mafi. So this is the 5th book, and basically this one, there are a lot of twists and turns. I gave this one a 4.5 out of 5. Basically, Juliet has become the Supreme Commander of North America, and it's kind of been a disaster. Then all of a sudden these people show up on her doorstep, and she's kind of, thinking that maybe she was in over her head, that she maybe shouldn't have, leapt forth to become the commander of North America, and wants to turn to Warner. However, there are some hidden secrets that he's been keeping from her. So her heart breaks, his heart is broken. It's just, this book kind of threw me for a loop. Juliet finds out a whole bunch of things about herself, her family, that she wasn't aware of. And this one, just kind of kept me on the edge of my seat. So I really did enjoy that one. The third one was one that I kind of just randomly found on my Audible account, and it was called Mother Knows Best. And it was surprisingly interesting. I gave this one a 3.5 stars because I wasn't really sure what I was jumping into. So essentially it follows a couple, and they are kind of, I don't really know how to explain it. They're scientists, but they kind of are dabbling in the world of kind of IVF, but it's a little more complicated than that. They're taking certain genes and chromosomes and stuff from not only 2 but 3 people, and it turns out that one of his students is kind of obsessed with him, or becomes obsessed with him, and wants to help him and his wife have a baby. And then it kind of goes through the years of this family, and then the child born from this kind of experiment. And there's a lot of twists and turns in this one as well. And I was very, very surprised by how much I enjoyed it. It was a little strange, a little scientific, but the overall storyline was very, very good. So that one I gave 3.5. The next one I read was a physical book, and it was called A Stranger in the House by Shari Lapena. I think it is Lapena. So this one, I also have the couple next door. I wish this wasn't on there, but you know. So essentially what this book kind of follows a couple who the one night he comes home and finds that his wife is missing and her keys and wallet and everything are still at home, and he's trying to find out where she is. It turns out that her vehicle was found in an accident. She doesn't know how she got there, what happened, and she develops amnesia from this night. Along with that, there is a murder, and because her car was found near the scene, she becomes a suspect of this murder. In the background, there is a neighbor that lives across the street named Karen, who we learn that is kind of has a little bit of an obsession with not only the husband but the wife as well. And yeah, it just unfolds from there. Turns out the person who they thought it wasn't. There's a little bit of stalker, a little bit of mystery. There's a whole bunch of twists and turns. This book, I would say, I probably gave it a 4-star. Not quite a 5, but definitely a great read if you're into mystery, thriller, that kind of thing. So the next physical book I read, I'm actually glad that I started with this one. I didn't realize it was part of a series. So I, again, do have the second installment of this. So this was Lisa Joel's The Family Upstairs. This one I gave a 3, probably slightly, maybe a 3.25 if I could. So essentially this follows a young woman who inherits a historic home. And this one, again, kind of a lot of twists and turns. There's a lot of history, family history, and it does follow a couple of different people. So a couple of siblings, different walks of life. One is a mom of 2 and in a very abusive relationship. So she's kind of looking to get away from that. Ends up having to go back to her ex to kind of ask for help so she can get to her childhood home. And then it follows another young lady the one who inherits the house. So just this one kind of, I feel like is just introduction to the characters and the home and all that stuff. But I'm excited to get into the second one because I did enjoy this. It wasn't as fast-paced as I had wanted, but very, very good book as well. And the last physical book I read was Wild Love by Elsie Silver. I wanted to take a little bit of a different twist this time because I had read a lot of thrillers and I wanted something different. So essentially, I kind of turned to this because I wanted to see what all the hype was about, and it didn't disappoint. I gave this one a 4.5 out of 5. So basically it follows Ford and Rosie. Essentially he is, so Ford is Rosie's big brother's best friend, and they have been kind of like known each other since childhood, and it's just this love story of kind of like not forbidden love, but at the beginning of the series it's kind of walks through Ford, and he is like the world's handsomest billionaire. He owns a bunch of businesses, and Rosie is his best friend's little sister, and basically she comes into town asking for a job. He gives her a job. One thing leads to another, and their kind of wild love, as it's called, basically kind of shines through, and they're kind of magnetic towards each other, so they can't keep away from each other. This was a really great book. I wasn't expecting anything too crazy, but I've never read anything by her, and again, great book. The other thing that I liked about this book is it takes place in Canada, so between British Columbia and Alberta. And the cool thing is I kind of looked here at the beginning, and it has like a map of where everything takes place. So like here's Rose Hill, Chestnut Springs is another one that's talked about a lot, and apparently this is the first book in her new series, so I cannot wait to see what the next ones are. All right, so the next one that I finished was the very last book in that series, the Shatter Me series, which was Imagine Me. So this is This one I was okay with. It really, I don't know. I kind of felt like maybe it was a little bit of an okay ending. I still gave it like a 4. So basically we learn about Juliet's past and who she really is, and this kind of book wraps up like now that she knows who she is. Things kind of become really complicated for her. She's kind of struggling to understand her past and then her future, what it looks like, going between the two. I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't want to ruin it if you are kind of looking to read this. But the kind of the reckoning, I guess, of the reestablishment is coming. She doesn't know which side she's going to be on, and the ending is kind of it's good. Like, I mean, I'll give it a 4, but I thought maybe it was just me, maybe because they were so young, I kind of thought like this is kind of teenage romance. So for me, it was a little bit hard to get behind. The whole series was, but overall, if I took out that, it was a great series. So the next book I want to talk about is A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. This book, I'm going to say, was a 5-star read for me. This book broke my heart in so many pieces. I listened to it on audio because I didn't have the physical copy. But again, this was one that I downloaded and I wasn't sure if I was even going to be interested in it. And when I tell you it was the complete opposite of that, I couldn't put this down. Like, I wanted to keep listening. And I don't know if maybe that was a reason it made it so much better as well, is having the audio and the emotions in it. But essentially this follows a high school, actually not even a high school. So it follows Ruin and Poppy. So they meet each other when he moves from Norway. His family moves from Norway and they become neighbors. Poppy, who lived next door, was only 4 when they met, I think, but basically she asks him if he wants to be best friends and he says yes. And it goes through their life kind of from that age until they're a little bit older. It follows her in a very life-changing health diagnosis. He moves away for a few years because of his dad's job, and it just shows, it kind of follows both of their lives separately but really intertwined. Goes through what she goes through with her health diagnosis and what he goes through with having to leave her behind for those few years, and when he returns, it just goes through just the most wild love story. And when I tell you I sobbed more than once, it was probably more like 10 or 12 times. This book absolutely ripped me apart, and total 5 stars. So if you are interested, then I would suggest definitely checking that one out. So that is it for this video, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I know that I like learning a little bit about what people are reading, how they like them, what they gave them. Let me know if you want to see a little bit more in depth with how I go through these. I try not to give too much of it away because it can really ruin the book. So I try and keep it as simple as possible, but again, still letting you know how I felt about it. And yeah, so next up is our May reads, which I've already got. I've already started 2 different books. I didn't include them in this one because I just started them today, which is the end of April. So until next time, you guys, I hope that you enjoy this. Please leave a comment below if you haven't already. Subscribe to my channel, and we will see you in our next video. Bye, guys.